This video is going to cover viewing, adjusting, and voiding posted receivable transaction as well as receivable receipts starting on page 126. Now, if you noticed, just below the heading and the middle of 126, it says, as with payable transaction, you can make changes to a sales invoice, sales order, or sales quote at any time. To change it, display it to make the necessary changes and post a sales transaction. Again, I do want to point out that a sales quote and a sale order don't actually get posted to the system, so a slight correction there. Now it says here to cancel an entire sales invoice, you can zero it out. I do not recommend that. What I want to see is the reverse icon, and the reason is when you run your journal report later, it'll show a record of it, and there's no need to have an empty invoice in there unless you have a specific reason to do it. So what we're going to do first, at the bottom of 126, we're going to go into the sales journal, which is, this is our main window here. We're on receivables. And there's a couple ways of doing this, but we're going to go into sales invoices. As you can see, this is a sales journal. That's what they're talking about. Up at the top, we're going to go sales, look up an invoice, and it's going to be school board number 56. And I'm just leaving the dates the same and click OK. And I can, just the one I can select, or I can double click on the entry. So if you notice, it just brings it up grayed out. And so that means that we can't edit. So we go back up to sales again and go adjust invoice. We could have gone directly to adjust invoice if we wanted to. Yours should show 3 and you'd adjust it to 2. I did this earlier. And then remember, we tab. Don't click out tab. We're going to look at our sales journal entry right here, and it shows the entry here with a total of 1,047, and then we're going to go ahead and post this entry. So you notice, once again, there's 2 journal entries. My entry numbers are going to be different than yours because I've gone and done this a couple times, and don't worry about that. The main thing is you're looking at the reversed entry and the new one, and it'll show as an adjustment in your journal report. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to close this window out, and we're going to look at receiving a payment on invoice. This is another reason why it is so important to do all of your transactions as much as possible in your individual journals, whether it be sales or purchases or whatever, because you can't track it otherwise. You go to receipt, if it wasn't done in the journal, it doesn't look correct. So what we're going to do here, and it'll look in a check format, and as it says on the bottom of 127, the current receivables report may be needed to ascertain how much a customer owes. Now we're going to go here, we're going to go to reports. This is at the top of 128, and we're going to go to receivables and customer aged. Now I personally like to do the detailed one. We're going to go ahead and show it for all customers. We could cut it down by 1. This shows what is outstanding here, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to modify, and I'm going to take it back to summary. You saw how easy that was, and so we can see the list. I personally prefer the detailed one. But anyway, here we got a list of all of them here, so you can look at it and see what's outstanding, and we can close it. Okay. Now we're going to click receipts. And we're gonna go paid by check, and in this case you'll notice there's also others: pre-authorized debit, online payment, or cash. But one very important thing that a lot of people miss is you want to change this to 10/20 cash for deposit. If you don't do this, it's going to create a real accounting problem, because you'll post a transaction, and a transaction will show you going from the checking account to the checking account, and it's really going to screw up your system. So make sure when you're taking deposits that you're doing your cash for deposit account. Now, it doesn't have to be cash, obviously. It just means that it's money. Now, 452. Oh, cash as opposed to credit, I should have said. And now you've noticed I've already done the receipt. So this is going to be from Richmond Symphony Orchestra. And we're going to go to this first one. We're going to go over here. Now, I've already posted this payment earlier. So that's why this shows I made a payment of $12,000 earlier. So now you can see that the balance is here. And then if I were to post it, I can go here, then I could end up with this amount. So I've already entered. In this case, if I were to do this, then I could change that amount to say 1,000. I'm not going to post this transaction because it'll mess up the system for later. But since I've already posted it, then it will go and it goes on to page 130 and shows you how to do it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to look at the report. And it shows our report, as you can see right here. But I am going to cancel this transaction rather than posting it because I've already done it earlier. If you have any problems with that, message me and I'll explain that a little bit better. Now there's at 1:30, there's a couple of additional ones I'd like you to do on 1:30 going on to 1:31, and we'll go on to adjusting on the next video.